Hello, everyone. Very good evening to you all. Thank you for joining us today for the third workshop on oral history. We've spent the last 3 days going over what is oral history and unpacking oral history, especially helping us put even mainstream history under the microscope quite a bit. We all know from the past 2 days, especially many of you are familiar faces here, and we've gone over how oral history offers insights into how individuals from diverse backgrounds experience life, from daily routines to significant events, through subjective and personal narratives, and by encouraging interviewees to share their feelings and their reflections, it captures untold stories and perspectives, preserving them for future generations, and especially when they are used in creative ways, they also inform and instruct and inspire future generations. Today, we have with us Swarup Bhattacharya, who has been working in an area that has required oral histories, oral traditions of history as part of the field that he works in. And through his presentation today, we hope to gain further insights into how oral traditions are passed on, knowledge traditions are passed on. A little bit about our speaker today. Swarup Bhattacharya has been researching the Bengal maritime culture with a focus on man and boat relationship for over 2 decades. He has been a research scholar at the Center for Maritime Archeology, Roskilde, Denmark, under the National Museum of Denmark. He has worked on maritime heritage and maritime technology as research associate of National Institute of Science, Technology and Development Studies under CSIR, and as a senior research fellow of Anthropological Survey of India and the Archaeological Survey of India. He was associated with setting up the Heritage Boats of Bengal Museum in Calcutta, West Bengal, and in India, where he also worked as a curator. Today, our workshop is going to go into what does non-written oral knowledge documentation entail, documenting and collecting information about the boat making process and use of boats since 1999 in Bengal and Orissa. He's been working with, so that is, now more than 2 decades. And a broad outline of oral knowledge narratives have emerged from what information he has collected. He'll be taking us through boat typology and its connection to maritime environment, craft practices, and how looking at literature, folklore, memories, and history has helped to gather historical and economic information. Swarup sir, we welcome you to take the stage and take us through your presentation today.
Thank you so much for inviting me in this Kerala Museum's workshop. I'm delighted that Shurujitda is here. And whatever I have done in my last 27 years of research, it is Latika Varadarajan. She introduced me in this field to do work on man-boat relationship in the year 1997. I worked with her since 2002. Then after, I also worked with her, but not informally. So it's a long acquaintance with Dr. Latika Varadarajan, and she told me that how I can record the oral history or the traditions, intangible cultural heritage of Bengal. Actually, she told me that do not go with the book, go in the field, record your data, and produce it. So I have not gone through any book at all in the first stage. Later, I worked with those boards and archival materials. But at first, I started my field work. So I'd like to share my screen first. I will show the various slides on boats and related culture, and I will explain. I think you are getting my
Yes, Swarup, we can see.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
thank
can
you.
see the yeah. Um, Boats of Bengal and oral history. In the background, there is something I think you understood. It's a boat, and it is the typical boat of Bengal. Why? I'm looking into detail of that boat. What is its specialty? I'm looking it. So they're doing something. We call it stapling. They are stapled. The planks are stapled. So after stapling, you can find the planks in this way. If you look in detail, the stapling, the staples, it is the unique feature of Bengal. Nowhere in the world you can find that kind of technology to join two planks with the help of a double-ended pin, the staple pin. They call it jolui or sometimes patam. The people of southwestern part of Bengal, they call it jolui, and rest of the part of the Bengal, they call it patam. Why such? The local terminology is very important for oral history or to document any technology. In Midnapur district, they call it Jolui. Even in some parts of Sundarbans, they call it Jolui. Because the Sundarban people, those who call themselves as these are the Jolui, the staple pins, they are actually migrated from Midnapur district. So that is the terminology of Midnapur district. And rest of the Bengal, they call it Patam. Patam is the word, probably it's derived from patar moto, leaf shaped. That's why. Whereas in Midnapur district, they call it Jolui. Jolui is the term, it's the Austric origin. So the people, the Munda, Santal, their it is their word. We are using that one. So to document any kind of technology, you have to know the demography. You have to know the migration pattern and who are using that, why they are using, why they are using those terms, the etymological meaning. These are very important for any documentation on technology or oral history. Why boat? Boat is very important because without that boat, you cannot go on the other bank of the river. So, boat means it gives you a movement, it gives you the opportunity to explore other parts of the land, other parts of the river, or the other parts of the anywhere in the land. So, boat we know that boat developed. When it developed, we do not know, but we know that it is a much more earlier invention than the wheel. Without that boat, that human migration might not be possible. So we are uh, using those boats nowadays in various forms. And in Bengal, the nature of river, nature of water is so different, and it's everywhere. The water is here, so people know how to row a boat, how to swim. They know. People of Rajasthan or Punjab, they probably do not know the how to swim, how to row a boat. But here in the village level in Bengal, every people know from their childhood how to row a boat. Now, I'm going into details of the technological aspects of boat building. In the year 2022, Endangered Material Knowledge Program of British Museum, they funded us for a project to commission a boat and to document the entire process of boat building. We documented it in 2022. Here, they're using a hand saw to tune the planks. So still they're using. Uh, we know that that kind of planks nowadays very much available in sawmills. You can buy it and you can use for the boat. But here they are also using the hand saw. It's an endangered tool, I can say, because earlier days that kind of saw was used. Nowadays, nobody used that kind of saw. So we have to document the technology, the tools in every detail, because in this time we are losing in every moment the tools and other things because of the invention of electronic gadgets. After sawing, uh, after making planks, then they used to put it into a device. It's a bending device. They're putting it in that way and they're bending it. We have taken photographs as well as we are making drawings of every details of that device so that you can understand it in more detail. So not only the photographs, not only the videography, as well as line drawings is very important. Here, they're making it bend in other process. Here you look, there are various peoples, all of them are the boat makers, but they are acting in different way. The people, the aged people, he's just watching, he's supervising, he's telling how to do that one and who will push it, who will throw more light on that portion. He's advising. And that guy in a standing position with a hand, he's doing something. He's the chief carpenter. So his duty is to make it proper. And other people's are just helping him. So a chief boat maker has the right to perform the very crucial thing. And the other guys, they're helping, and the supervisor is advising. So it's a guild formation for a boat making, and all people knows, the guild person knows what is their duty, and they follow the chief carpenters or chief boat makers advice. After those, they're putting those central kill plank in that way on top of some timbers. That is actually, they're putting it little bit in a height so that they can walk in the bottom also. So each and everything, there are some there are some importance for that kind of logs and other things. Here, they're putting it the central plank in that way. They are erecting the central plank. After erection of the central plank, then planks they added. Here it's very important that how they bend it, how they twist it, how they use those ropes and other things. There's some background noises. I do not know, but okay, I'm following. I'm continuing. Look into that one. The rope they're using. Those are the typical ropes of Bengal. It's called shishol. Earlier days they use also the hemp rope, but that kind of rope is not available and very expensive now. Available obviously, but very expensive. Instead, they're using the local variety rope for making those clamps and other things. So it's very important to document each and every tools they're using, how they're using, what kind of knot they're using, uh, and who is functioning, which role he's performing. These are very crucial, important thing, and you have to make a diary. You have to write it properly. Here, the guy who is sitting, he's he's superior than the standing guys. That means he's the actually those two members of that boat building team, they are making one group. They are performing some duties, and the guys who is sitting, he's the little bit in higher position, and he's saying to the other guys what you have to do. So on his advice, the standing guys doing something. Very important thing also, look, the he's the standing guys, he's putting his legs, but he's keeping his shoes in aside. That means there are some respects on the tool, on the what they are making. So these are all related. I will come later. After making those photographs, then we make those drawings. So that drawings is very important. It can gives you a clear idea of any technological aspects. It's the cross section where you could see the first planks they have added with a small notch that is called rabbet, that is half lap. And those are the staple pins. That is the staple pins, and these are the tools they're using for stapling process. They call it Jolui Mara. That plank before the stapling. And this is the process of stapling. Now look, in the boat, there are various joints. Some boats, some joints, we call it vertical joints and other things. And those joints are very crucial. Those are very efficient and without any nail. Those joints, they put one plank, one after another with that joint without any nail, so that it cannot go, it cannot lose the plank. I'm telling you, it is such a joint, we call it complex scarf joint, so that it can go along the groove and it can hold one plank other. So without any nail, they put those joints. And a chief carpenter, a master carpenter, master boat builder can make that joints within few minutes. He knows it, the dimension without any measurement, he can do that one. And this is our traditional knowledge. Without using any scale, they are making those joints. Just they are making those joints using their head and eye. Those joints are like that one. Amazing joint, complex curve. Another thing, our boat builder do not use any measuring tape. They think that their eyes are more in, their eyes can give it more perfection. Here, the guys with that cap, he's watching how the planks is moving. And his decision is final. If he can think it is rightly going in proper direction, then it's fine. If he thinks there is little bit of tapering, then he will push it little bit downward, upward, or anyway. So basically, their head-eye coordination is very important, and they think this is their only tool. But they also measure. Ponchanan Mondol, he told me, we do not measure it until fifth row of planking has been done. Actually, after fifth row of planking, he is measuring that with using a string. He is using a string to make a measurement in certain points because he thinks the bilateral symmetry can be maintained by measuring with that string. So only the bilateral symmetry they are measuring, not in inches or any other things. Sometimes they also measure it, the length, the width, with the help of fingers or arm measurement. These are our anatomical measurement, the linear measurements. So instead of any inch scale or meter scale, still they are using those strings and limbs for measuring any linear or circular anything on boats. And these are the process of boat building. After making shell of the boat, they are putting those inner stringers and then cross beams and fattacks, horizontal flow timbers in that way. This is the ultimate shape of a boat. That boat is called chot. Chot, it can run very fast. In Bengali, that chot means it can run fast. Chutte pare. Recently, we are, not recently, maybe 15, 20 years ago, we have also used that photogrammetry. Now we are using that technology also for our chot boat. And after that photogrammetry, we can use those line drawings and other things for better understanding of the boat. These are the line drawings, scientific line drawings. Now, I told you that they are only using some strings and other tools. This is the string. They're measuring it. They're putting a mark on that timber. They call it shuto. Shuto means shutro. They call it, actually the boat makers, they call themselves as shutrodhar. They hold those strings. So it's also very important that the community is referred as per their expertise on a tool. They knows how to use that string. They knows how to make a curved line with the use of a string. These are the other indigenous tools. They make it for themselves. They use it for the boat building technology. In the right-hand side, they call it Boa Karan, and the left-hand side, that one is Karan. Karan. These are the dividers. They use it for marking on the planks. Not only the boat makers, there are also few people still left. Those who knows how to make a sail. They are the rare species. Still in Bengal, there are few people, those who can know the sail to make that sail. Actually, in the mid 1990s, we have used those engines instead of sail. So all boats, they lost their tradition. So instead of sails, we are using now the engines. So if you get any opportunity to document any rare thing, please document it. Otherwise, we can lose that technology very soon. We have to document for our posterity. And after completion of the boat, that guy is doing something. It's very important. He's doing some work. He's putting something. He's putting some curtains in between two planks throughout the same. That is called caulking. In Bengal, they called as gauni mistri, and the entire process is called gauni kora. Gauni means making the boat leak-proof. So from start to end, we have to document the entire process step by step, and we have to write it in our field diary. After completion of the boat, then we did a trial run with the help of villagers. And there are our boat makers, Amol Mondol, Panchanan Mondol, Monimohan Mondol, Dilip Mondol, and Deepak Mondol. They are all boat makers of Dihi Mondol Ghat. Dihi Mondol Ghat is in Shampur of Howrah district. And that place is very important because on the opposite bank of the river Dihimondol Ghat, the river name is Rupnarayan. The opposite bank, there was a famous, very ancient port. We call it Tamrolipto. So the people of Dihimondol Ghat, probably the boat makers of Tamrolipto. So they are still following their tradition, still they are doing their job. But unfortunately, that entire hamlet, they call it as Mistiripara. I know in 50 years ago, there were almost 100 boat builders. Nowadays, there is hardly 10 to 15 boat makers. And those who are working there, mainly they are migrating to other parts of Bengal in search of their livelihood for boat making. So the boat that boat building hamlets of Dihimondol Ghat is no more a boat building hamlet because that river is no more. That river has lost its identity. 50 years ago or 100 years ago, that Rupnarayan was full of water. nowadays it's full of silt. We call it chora, that means a silted portion. So that kind of boat, chot, which was earlier days used on that Dihimondol Ghat area, it cannot run on that chora because it is a V-shaped boat. If it can catch those chora, that silted part, it will tilt. So entire uh, uh, fish or any commodity what they were transporting, that can capsize, that can go into water. That's why that kind of river, that kind of boat is no more in existence in that Dihimondol Ghat area. So we know that we are making some dams and other things on the upstream of that Rupnarayan River. In the 1950s, we commissioned a dam called Damodar Valley Corporation. Instead of looking into the river, we are putting some structural wall to regulate the water, and we just uh, we just that river has died actually. So that boat cannot run on that water, on that Rupnarayan River. So those boat makers, they are going for other options, other jobs for livelihood. Now I'd like to show you that whatever I told you, those are the technological aspects and the fact, what is going on, how the boats are vanishing, why boats are vanishing, what are those causes. But if you look the history, the archival materials, then have a look that is from 11th or 12th century uh, boat replica from Indian Museum. That is the very few archival records what we have. Unfortunately, we do not have any historical documents. We do not have other things. In Europe, they excavated boats, but unfortunately, we do not find any boat, and we do not have that kind of environment to unearth any shipwrecks or boats. That is the medieval terracotta temple of Bengal, where you can find those uh, boat shape. But besides those, there are very few solvents, etchings, and other things, and other travelogue they have written about boats. But those are very scanty information, unless and until we accept those one, we do not have any other records. So if you can go now today into the field, you can still find those kind of boat. Those are very much alive. They are still running. So it is the high time to document those boats to, to any kind of intangible or tangible cultural heritage, because it's the time we are losing those technologies. And each and every boat types of Bengal, we have different names. The previous one is Tale Donga, that one is Dungi, that one is called Shalti, that is called Paukia. So all those boat types have different names. Why such? Because the boat depends on the nature of river, nature of water. What is the depth of the river, what is the current of the river, the wind, the wave pattern. These are very important to give the shape of the boat. Not only that, then you have to remember that what kind of commodity it will serve, what kind of material it will take, how much it will carry. These are all very important. Not only that, it is also important who are those, what is their traditions, why they are using. You have to judge also that one. It's a boat, we call it Panshi. Earlier days, that kind of boat was used for Kolkata to transport salt. Nowadays, you do not need to transport those salts because you have the Tata salt and other packet salts. Nowadays, they are using for sand minings. They are desilting the riverbed. They are taking those sands for construction work. Khorokisti. Khor means straw and kasti means the Arabic term, the boat. That boat we have lost. So I have taken that photograph in the year 2000, 2004. And after 2006, that kind of boat we have lost completely. Shultani, another boat type. That is the boat of Sundarban called Tholai. Balitolar Noko of Polagar. Jele Bachari. Malo Bachari. Chand Noko. Patam Noko. Shultani. Look into the shape. Very important what kind of shape it is. Why such? A boat called Patia. Very important. If you look into the planking pattern, it can give you an idea the history of technology. That boat actually gives you an idea of more than 1,000 years. Still, that boat is very much alive in this part of the world. That means we call it, that boat, as living fossil. A boat of Polagar called dinghy. Trawler. Though we call it trawler, it is not, that boat is not using the trawl net. They are the traditional boat. We have lost that tradition. I have taken that photograph from National Geographic. It's in Bangladesh. Look into the nature of river, how it is coming, and look how those boats using different types of sails, in different colors and in different shape. We have different sail structure. Very important that boat here in Bengal is a culture. That's why we have that kind of song.
দেখা যায় গাঙের বাঁকে সোনার বালুচর যেথায় বসে দিনের আলোয় চখাচখির ঘর রে চখাচখির
That is called
ঘর
Bhattacharya,
সাঁঝ
the song of
সকালে
the boatman.
জোয়ার ভাটায় ঢেউয়ের নাচন
This is the
লাগে
song
ওরে
very much
ঢেউয়ের
go
নাচন
with the
লাগে
nature of the river.
সাঁঝ
It's go with
সকালে
the rhythm
জোয়ার
of the boat.
ভাটার ঢেউয়ের নাচন লাগে ওরে
That is
ঢেউয়ের
called
নাচন
Bhattacharya.
লাগে
Still, it is very
কেউ
popular in
জানে
Bengal.
না কোন পরা
Many people, many of you are from Kerala. So you know the boat race of Kerala. Have you ever heard that we have also that tradition? Unfortunately, I think no. Very few people knows that in Bengal, we have also that boat race. Not only that boat race, we have also a song that is called Shari Gan.
আমার বাড়ি যাইবো দৌড়া বসতে দিব মোরা হায় হায় বসতে দিব মোরা এরে কোন করিতে দিব শালি ধানের সিয়ারে হাত ছেড়া দাও সোনা
This is the rhythm of a boat race. This is the rhythm of paddlers. It is, I have taken that photograph in the year 2002 in Sundarban. Boat race is not only popular in Kerala, boat race is very popular in China and other parts of Southeast Asia. Cambodia, Vietnam, we have that boat race. But in Bangladesh, it's very popular, the boat race. And even this part of West Bengal, we have also that boat race. In the month of September, October, we organize that kind of boat race in village level, in remote corners of Bengal. Boat is not a boat. It's a living entity. That's why the boat makers use those eyes. A boat maker, when he's after completion of the boat, he's doing something, he's performing something. That is the ritual, very important for that boat building. Here, Amun Bondol is performing something. He's saying that he thinks in that way that boat is his daughter, and he's giving birth to his daughter. He's making a boat means he's giving birth to it, to his daughter. After completion of the boat, he's handing over it to others, to the boat owners. And that ceremony, they call it Shamprodan. They call it, it symbolizes with the marriage of his daughter. Here, the items they are putting, the bangles and other things, the shidur, vermilion and other things, these are all related with the marriage ceremony. So, a boat maker performs some duty in that way. He can correlate with his creation with his daughter. It's an unique opportunity, unique thing. I think all over the world, boat is feminine in character, but in Bengal, it's special, sometimes daughter, sometimes mother, sometimes groom. Sometimes bride, sorry. So it's very intricately related with the Bengal. And we call it Nauko Jatra, Nauko Goron, Nauko Cholon. And those are written in the Punjika, in the almanac. So according to the almanac, they perform some rites. They perform first ritual at the time of initiation of the boat building, then in the middle, after completion of the boat, then at the first, the ritual is related with the first voyage. And they are the boat makers. They are doing their job. Who are those? They are all from lower strata of our society. There in Bengal, they call themselves as sometimes Rajbongshis. They call themselves as Tiors. Sometimes they're other caste, but all of them are from the lower strata. They are mainly the fisher folk, a group of fisher folk. Those who are interested, they took that profession as boat building. And that boat building profession is completely depends on Guru Shishya Parampara. That means teacher and student. A teacher can think to disseminate his information to a student through practical knowledge. And a teacher will teach a good student. He can teach many things, but out of his 5 or 6 students, he can give his best knowledge to maybe 1 or 2 people. And that 1 or 2 students in future, they will be the chief carpenter, chief boat builder. This is the process of Bengal. This is the process of transmission of acquired knowledge from one generation to others. And still, those kinds of those aged persons, boat builders, still they are doing, still they are in the process of teaching others how to build a boat, because those traditions are completely oral traditions. We do not have any records. They do not follow any writings. Only they teach through through the practical. They say they teach their students in that way. You can make it one centimeter more. Otherwise, you can carve it in that way. This is the process by which a student can learn the process of boat building. After maybe 5 or 10 years of apprenticeship, he will be the chief carpenter, chief boat builder. This is the process. So this is the tradition is still going on without any template, without any knowledge, written knowledge. It's all oral tradition. So that intangible cultural knowledge, cultural heritage, one has to document. If it is you are interested to document, you have to document thoroughly. But the problem is, it is the local vernacular. I know I'm Bengali. I know the boat builders. They can talk with me in Bengali with me. But when a Bengali boat builders talk with the other co-boat builders, they use some typical word or typical sounds. That is their technical specialty, and those are the top secrets. So many things we will not understand, but I think if you go in details, you can learn a little bit, and that is very important for our future, for our posterity, because these are the old aged boat builders, still they are making, and there are few young boat makers, they are also doing their part of the job. But we are losing it every time, because that kind of sale is no more. We know the variety of boats we will lose. We know that we will lose the technological aspects of every details of those boats, unless and until we document it thoroughly, we document it pinpointly, very carefully. Thank you so much.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah, both your photographs and your passion with which you speak also tells us how long you spent immersed in this topic. And we'll be open for questions now. And if anyone has a question, please. It's very easy to get involved in the process of the boat, but I just want to remind you all that we are also focusing on oral history and methodology. So though the boats are so, I can only use the word desirable because they just look so beautiful. And the close-ups, especially of the process, is just fascinating to see. So just remember that we also need to keep the conversation on oral history and how you gathered your material over, and also your purpose and how you went about doing it. But we'll take questions now, and everyone who's putting questions in the chat, please remember we're focusing on oral history more, and of course the boats also after. Srijit, will you take the questions?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. We'll just go one by one, up to 8 questions, and then we'll close the session because we're also live on YouTube. And we'll close the session, and then after that, we can informally chat if everyone has time.
Okay, so if I may, there are a couple of questions that have already come up, but both of them are connected to stapled boat building and why is it different from what is in Kerala and why is it so? So that actually brings me to a question I'd like to ask you as well, that clearly the environment the boat finds itself, as you mentioned at one point, what is the water like, what does it have to negotiate, contributes a large extent to the shape of the boat and the way it's built. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about not just that, but also how you found out this information when you went there the first time? And go back to your earliest days in the field.
Yeah, very difficult because when I started work in 1997, I do not know what kind of boat it is and why that shape it is. But in later, I understood that one, because the people, they are saying that boat is called Kaile Bachari. Kaile, why such name? Kaile, then that people say we have a kind of fish called kakle. Kakle is a type of fish with a big, long beak. So immediately I recognize that shape of the boat is related with that shape of the fish. So they imitate that idea of the shape from that fish. They transformed it to a boat. So they know that fish can run very fast against water, so that their boat can also run very fast against the current. So they're using those shape. They're taking those shapes from the nature. Pata means patar moto. That means double-ended, leaf-shaped. Again, there is another boat called Panshi. I think the word may be Pan Jaisi. Pan means beetle leaf. The shape of the beetle leaf. So in many cases, the shape of the boat, the terminology they use, it's very much taken from the nature.
So it's clear, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you, the connection between local ecology, nature, and the terms that are used, are they restricted to the overall naming the craft, or when they're constructing the craft, or when they're trying to describe the process, do people also make references to the flow of water, the way the rain falls, or the sounds you hear somewhere? Do they have connections to the way they describe a particular technological act?
Yes, very important that we met, me and Latika Bhattacharya went to Hashnabad region I think in 98, 99. Then the boat maker, Nitai Shuchodar, I still remember that. He told me that when a boat owner, would-be owner, asked for a boat, he said, I need a boat. Then immediately the Nitai Shuchodar will ask him where it will ply. Where? He said, it can, I will ply that boat in the Bodo Nodi. Bodo Nodi means there are some big rivers, Matla, Raimongol. Then immediately Nitai Shuchodar told that it must be more than 28 hath in length. 28 hath means the length of arm length from here to here, more than 28 hath. Then I asked that why it is more than 28 hath. He told me that the distance between two waves is 28 hath. So a boat which is going in the Boro Nodi must have more than 28 hertz. Otherwise, one wave can enter into the boat. So that boat maker knows exactly the nature of the wave pattern of that river, of that region. So a boat of Kolkata cannot run in Bojboj, maybe 20 kilometers downstream of Kolkata. A boat of Kolkata can run 50 kilometers upstream of Kolkata because the nature of river is not different in that sense. But if you go to the downstream towards the Bay of Bengal, then definitely you have to remember the pattern of wave, current, and other things.
There's another question that has come up, which is actually, it's like I had a question. You mentioned about the social hierarchy when you pointed out a person was sitting and supervising and another person was doing the labor, manual labor. If you could talk a bit about the hierarchy about that would be useful. What
No,
is
there
the
is no
organization
such,
of the?
yeah, there is no hierarchy. Actually, a chief carpenter, they call it head mistri. You know the mistri term is a Portuguese word. Mestar, it came from mestar. Head mistri, the chief boat builder, actually, he takes all those decisions and other follow boat makers, they follow him. Uh, According to the decision of the head carpenter, head boat builder, other boat makers follow as per the need of the boat. So there are some definitely some hierarchy, but they do not think in that way. They think in that way that he knows more than me. He has the experience more than me, so he can guide us. So in that way, it is not the hierarchy in that sense, but all the same. If when they take food, it is in the same rank, in the same platform they can sit. But for any decision on boat building, the chief carpenter, the head carpenter's decision is final. That means the hierarchy.
So you're saying that while there's no visible hierarchy when you are in the social space, but in terms of the skills, there is a
Yeah.
hierarchy of skill.
Yeah. Yes.
So there another question that has come up in this connection is: so are the boat makers in this particular project that you are doing, which is creating that short boat, are the boat makers all drawn from the same family, or do they also have people working for them that come from other places, other states, any other place?
Yeah. Here in that case, for the chot boat building, they are from the same family. But it is generally that kind of guild formation. We call it guild formation. It's very rare because all four members, they are all boat makers. That's why they came. Otherwise, you will not find a family. All of them are with the boat building profession. You will not find. So you have to hire other people from other community, other family. Generally, they they form a guild, they form a group from other families also.
So question I would ask just to complete what you're saying. So how is this guild formed? Are there any rules of entry? How do people decide that you are good enough to become a member of the guild?
Yeah, it all depends on the chief carpenter. He can decide. He will decide who will be the member of his team.
Okay. So a few other questions which are actually connected to more about intangible cultural heritage. One is, like the songs you played, I would like to know if there are any oral tales or narratives associated with the whole process of boat making and even sailing or voyages, especially with the ritual you involved that you talked about. And I presume the handing over the boat to the boat owner ritual, the photograph you had shown, I'd never seen that. I'd only heard of the ritual. This is the first time I myself have seen what it looks like. And I'm struck by the fact that it is so close to the idea of marriage. even the colors and the cloth and the, as you were pointing out, the things involved. So at one level, while if you could tell us a little more about the various practices associated with boat making, building, transfer of ownership, the sailing of the boats.
Yeah. In our almanac, there is a provision of auspicious day. In the almanac, it mentions that what is the ideal day for starting of boat building. That is called Noko Goron, I think. And second ritual is related with the boat, which is mentioned in the almanac. It's the Noko Cholon. Noko Cholon means handing over of boat. And third one is the Noko Jatra. That means the first voyage. So all these cases, they mentioned in the almanac the auspicious time. On that basis of the auspicious moment, all these rituals are performed by the boat maker and the boat owner. No priests are allowed. No priests are involved with that kind of ritual activity. So it is the local tradition, the folk tradition. What are those items they're putting into that ritual? What they're thinking? What they do not chant anything. I remember that in the first stage of boat building, when they erected the first plank, the keel, they make a ritual and they mark a portion of a wood with the help of a tool. That tool, we call it edge, iron edge. Iron edge means the blade is like that one. It's not X edge, ADZE. And the chief carpenter, chief boat builder, he marked a portion of a wood with the help of that edge. And he told me that this is the most important. He cannot chop that wood with other tools. He can do it only with the help of edge. So there is a link between the carpentry and edge. I think the edge is the most primitive and very important tool for any boat making. So that's why they are using that edge. And on that time, they invoke something. They say, Joy Guru, Joy Baba Vishwakarma. Firstly, Joy Guru. That means Guru means the teacher. First, he respect to his teacher, then Joy Baba Vishwakarma, the Vishwakarma, the Almighty. First, the living person, then the Almighty. He's chanting that word. So it's very intricate. If you study it in detail, it's amazing why they think. In Chotbot case, again, I'd like to mention you that aged person, what is his name? Panchanan Mandal. Panchanan Mandal, one day, there is a scar on his hand. The saw or something that marked him here in the fingers, and then some bloods he lost. Then I immediately told him that take care, take rest and something. Then he said, no, it is the part of their job. I said, yeah, definitely, but you have to take rest. Then he said, she's my daughter. She will always take some blood from us, because that is the relation. That is the relation we have to develop. So it's all social thing. It's very important. Actually, you cannot understand if you do not know the language, if you do not know the situation. So these are very intricately related.
A couple of things come to mind as you're saying this. One is you brought up the thing about the daughter, and I noticed that in all the photographs that you've shown, there is actually no other woman in the whole in any of the photographs except the boat, which I
Yeah,
presume is female.
yeah,
Right, the
yeah,
gender of the boat is female. Now,
yeah.
is there a way I mean, what is the logic for this, and what do the women of the family do? Or do they do nothing at all? I mean, it's not really possible. So they must be playing some kind of supportive role.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, there are some taboos related with the boat and woman. Generally, the boat maker's family or the boat owner's family members, they participate in the boat building, but they do not take any hard work related with the boat. Uh, I have not found any boat makers, those who are female. I found that boat owners' family members, actually in Bengal, the situation is that if you like to build a boat, if you need a boat, then in your locality, there are some boat makers. You have to hire, you have to make an appointment with the boat makers. You have to go and there are some negotiations. Then on a suitable day, that boat maker will come to your house and he will make that boat in your courtyard. After completion of the boat, he will deliver it, he will hand over it to you, and he will return back. On those days, maybe 20 days or 1 month or more than that, the boat maker will stay in that house as a guest. He is the guest there. So all family members, they will help them for any kind of boat building activity. But the female members, they cannot enter into the boat. They cannot touch the boat in that sense. I have not found it. Always they're helping, but there are some taboos related with the uh, uh, physical condition of that woman. So these are all related. Even some males, there are some taboos. There are taboos related with the uh, uh, boat building, and you cannot do any nuisance work or any bad thing, and you cannot do perform your boat building after that. There are also taboos.
Okay, so there are some taboos both for basically to in a sense keep the boat area a little
Yes.
quote unquote clean, if I
Yeah.
can use that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but what happens after the boat has been transferred to the boat owner? Then I presume women can come as passengers or cargo or whatever. I mean, so
Yeah.
then what do the rules change after the transfer of ownership?
Yeah. Actually, those who are taking that boat, who is the owner of the boat, they thinks that is the uh, bride, the boat as their bride. Yeah. So that means it's the marriage ceremony, and that daughter is entering into a new house, and she will perform some duty. She will act as a Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth. That means the boat can earn money. Yeah. So boat is itself the Lakshmi, the bride. In Odisha, they call it আমাদের ঝিও. আমার ঝিও means uh, আমার ছেলের বউ, আমার বউ হিসেবে এসছে. That means there are very complicated relations. And when that boat goes into the sea to fetch, to fish or anything, the crew members, they think that is the boat actually is their mother. They are sitting on the lap of their mother because they think the lap of the mother is the safest place. So it's all related with the feminine in character.
Okay, couple of other questions have come up. One is the design of the boats unique to each family? Were they reluctant to allow researchers into the workspace since you were an outsider?
I'm not understanding. Please repeat again.
Is the design of the boat unique to each family? And when you went to the workspace or when others go to the workspace, are they reluctant to allow researchers to come and visit them?
Yeah, there is no template. That means there is no drawing of a boat. It's all oral tradition. And it's up to you which plank you will give more curve or less curve. So all boats are unique in the shape. All boats. You cannot match. It's not a machine made. It's a manually made. So you cannot compare one boat with others. So all boats are unique, all boats are different. And out of those, maybe one or two is the best. So it all depends on the craftsmanship. That's why if there is, you can find 100 boats. Out of those 100, maybe 2 or 3 are they call it as the best boat of that yard. So it's all depends. And really, it's very tough for a researcher to understand and to take those notes in the in workshop, because they are making something in exchange of money. They will spend few hours for work, and they will earn from that owners. So owners will not also entertain you. They will say, if you ask any question, it will hamper the time. So there will be loss in economy. So there is always a bit of confusion. So I think when I do not ask any question. I go with them. I walked with them. I I stay for the whole day and watch it. And I have taken drawings and photographs and other things. And in leisure time, in the break, I used to ask them. This is the method.
So in other sense, ways you're saying, like, as any good oral historian, you don't interfere with what is happening. You wait long enough to see where are the gaps in which you may come up with your questions.
Yeah. 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 Actually, every time you can ask the same question in repeated way, so that you can get the always. If you do not know that person, he can misguide you. Always you have to ask the same question repeated way, so that you can get the best answer. And you have to judge yourself. Yeah, because all informants are not good informants. You have to choose the key informant, and out of that key information, you can uh, quantify your data qualitatively.
Uh, last couple of questions. You just brought in the idea of the sail and sailing in a couple of photographs. Is there something special about them, about sails? And because a sailboat is a very different creature compared to other boats. The way they behave on the water is very different. So how do the people who make the boats talk about them? Or is there just different ways of responding?
Yeah, sails are of different types. If you look into the small boats, they call it kanipal. They use that sails that is called sprit sail in English. Earlier days, we had that sprit sails, square sails, and also the lug sails. These are the three typical variety of sails we had. But almost we have lost the square sails and lug sails. Only the small boats, still they are using, those who are the fishing boats, still they are using those sprit sails, SPRIT. We call it kanipal. So instead of those big sails, now we are using those engines. diesel engines. So it's the reality. But there is always a demand. If you go for the fishing, if you run your boat faster than other, you can go into the deep. You can catch the maximum haul of fish. So it means they are related with the speed of the boat. So sails we are losing, but instead we are using those engines. Probably we can use the other methods, other types, electronic engines or the solar engines instead of those diesel engines. Actually, diesel engines, they are making noise pollution, sound pollution, also the air pollution and the water pollution. So probably in future we can use the electric and battery and solar and other mode of.
Yeah, I think that would be the way to go if the prices of oil or the amount of oil available disappears. But and one question I would like to also ask, and that's like a personal kind of thing. You have seen boats in other parts of the country besides Bengal. You have traveled. So since here we have a lot, like Kerala also is a place with a large culture of boats, not just boats that go fishing, but boats that go along the coast and inland boats. What are the kind of differences and why do they come up when we see boats between, say, Kerala and Bengal, to give an example?
Yeah, very difficult question. Why such difference? Yeah, really, we do not know. Nobody knows actually. Lucy Blue, he informed me that he had a question to a boat maker in Digha region, and that boat maker answered it. They think it is the best way. So the technology they are following, they think it is the best way. So a boat of Digha region, a Patia, you can only find in maybe 20 kilometers stretch. After that, you will not find that Patia in after 20 kilometers. So everywhere, not only in different states, but along the coast, if you go from Bengal to Tamil Nadu, there is rapid change in maybe 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers, or 40 kilometers. Because if you look into the demography, they are the different people. If you look the demography of Balasore district of Orissa, they are the people from Odisha. But if you go to the Puri district, the fishermen are all from Andhra Pradesh. So the Andhra people, they have taken that Kattumaram to that Puri coast. So the demographic profile is very important, along with the nature of the sea and availability of raw materials. What is the raw materials available on that region is very important to make a boat. So a technology which Kerala people follow, the Shun technology, the shearing methods, the stitching methods, which is not following in Bengal. In Orissa coast, they have also the shearing technology. In Tamil Nadu, we also that Masula is boat type with stitching technology. So that kind of technology is prevalent, but the shape of the boat is different and they term it in different way. So all it's totally different. You cannot compare the Kerala boat with the Bengal boat. You cannot.
Thank you, because you may not be able to compare it, but what we will probably realize, as you're saying, is that it's a combination of the people and the materials and the use you're going to put to which determined what finally is going to be made.
Not only that, it's also related with the heritage. They call it heritage. That is our tradition. I cannot change it. So whatever the boat types are available in Bengal, they are following their own tradition. They are not taking any other's tradition. It's very important for Bengal. Whereas in Odisha, I know that they are taking traditions from other parts of the world. Yeah, other parts of the states. So they're imitating other ideas. They're doing some trial and error measurements. But in Bengal, still we are very orthodox, and those poor peoples do not have any fund. They cannot go for experiment. Still, they are following their own technology with wooden boat, not fiberglass boat. Still in Bengal, there are hardly you can find in fiberglass boat.
That's nice to know, because I thought it would be like other places where metal and fiberglass has made a rapid occurrence. It's good to know that at least someplace wood is holding forth.
Surajit, there are two questions on sources. Okay. One is, thank you so much, sir, for such a detailed discussion on this topic, rarely dealt with in present times. I would like to know if there are any oral tales or narratives like the songs you played associated with the whole process of boat making and even sailing of voyages. So this is one thing, how are oral sources informing us about the rituals and the processes of boat making. In another question, we have in Manasamangal and in Chandimangal, the boat making and sailing is described, but in Dharmamangal, it is not mentioned that much due to the place it is written. Are these literary texts assisting to recognize the oral history of boats?
Not at all. Yeah, I think Manusha Mongol and other texts, they referred that boat building technology, but it's not. I cannot tell you that it's not good to me, because the whatever it is written in those Manusha Mongols and other Chorjapods and other things, it's not 100%. It's a poet can imagine, he can sit in his room, he can write, but reality is different. Yeah, there are so many novels in Bengal. They have mentioned about the boats, but nobody has gone into the details of the boat. Even Rabindranath, even Rabindranath has spent his many days on boat, but he has not gone into details of that boat. So it's hard. You cannot find anything, any information on boats, its building technology and other things in detail in any oral tradition. Only there are some songs, some information on boats, but hardly it cannot give you any stand, actually.
Thank you.
I'd like, in this connection, I'd just like to say one thing, that even this Mayuri, the boat, that famous boat, that Tungabhadra Tire, that book has talked about, very famous book in Bengali, but nobody knows what that boat ever looked like. It's all in somebody's imagination, but it is assumed to be a real thing. And besides that, I think one of the, as oral historians, maybe one of the concerns I have is our oral traditions don't really talk about the lower caste traditions as much. And that is one of the big problems with boat buildings, because all the working people who build the boats, as Swarup just told us, they're all low caste. And I rarely have come across any piece of writing which has even noted down one entire song of theirs in detail. Like the whole, these various, if it was a higher caste, if a priest was involved in the launching of a boat, then a whole lot of things would have been written about it. So that is why sometimes in Odisha and Andhra you find writings, but in Bengal you never find it because the upper castes are just not involved. So that's one of the issues that as oral historians, I think we need to pay attention to, is to actually go and actively, while the knowledge is still there, record and transcribe the traditions of boat building, which are social traditions, as slightly different from, but connected to the technical traditions, because both contribute to each other and together they make the full knowledge. What do you say, Swarup?
Yeah, not only that, I think we have never looked our society. We have never gone into our little tradition. It's in Bengal. There are all people are very much fond of boat. They knows various boats. They have the song and anything, but you cannot ask any person, have you seen any boat named Merli? Nobody knows. But the Merli people, the people of Malda, they might know that there are some boats called Merli, but hardly any very few people. Actually, in the Sailing Against the Wind, there is a book of Erik Jansen, where he has mentioned that information on boats cannot, a boatman will not provide you the exact information on boat. The best idea, best knowledge you can get from a boat maker. From the boat maker, you can get the information, not a boatman. Always, there is also a crisis that I have also faced that thing. A boatman do not know actually what kind of boat that one is, and in details about that boat. He's using that boat, but he do not know about that technology. He do not know about that typological variety. A boat maker can give you a more detailed idea about the boat. So if there is any information, any people received from boat maker, then that is the information most relevant and very true in that sense. But I think in Bengal, there is hardly any people who have collected those informations. Advaita Bollamorban, you know the Advaita Bollamorban, Tita Shakti Nodin Nam. He is from that community, from Malo community. That's why in his novels, the boats and other things are very intricately mentioned. So he's the person who looked into his own material culture, and he produced it in that novel. So there is hardly any, there is very scanty information because nobody had given time to document or to learn our own technology.
Thank you.
Yes, I think we are at the end of our questions. We have taken much more than 8 questions, and you have gone into a lot of detail on each question also. So I think what we can, I'm just starting my video so I can come back in the, so I think what you were saying towards the end is very important even for us. You're saying that even amongst the professions, there is a specialization of knowledge, and just because they all are associated with boats, to an outsider, it might seem that everyone associated with boats must have some knowledge about boats, but even the person using the boat may not know what type of boat he's using. And this is a great revelation for us also. Even when we conducted interviews on the General Project, we interviewed the owners, we interviewed the boat makers, we interviewed, and we saw a similar kind of segregation of, knowledge. But input, your the takeaway that each family, since there is no drawing, that each has their own method of making. I think that's one difference that we saw in Kerala, right, Surajit? That there is a drawing here, but they won't show us the drawing. So they're still holding the information quite close to their hearts. Yeah. So with this, we come to the close of our 3 oral history workshops. This one was very different from the other 2. And each one has been very different. Each one has given us different takeaways. And as a set of 3 introductory workshops to oral history, I think they've given us a peek into various different aspects of methods and what we should do as oral historians. And even though you all have actually been in this field for more than 20 years, Sujit has been there even for longer, but we feel that we're still looking at defining what this is about and how it can be, processes can be put in place, or whether the non-existence of a process is very important to getting oral history right. That kind of thing. We've discussed quite a few different aspects of oral history in the past 3 days. We'll be putting out some of our takeaways also over the next few weeks on our Instagram and all of that. Avani is sharing on our chat the links to the Kerala Museum's journal articles and videos on YouTube. And there you can also see we've added Swarup's blog, which is a repository of his study over so many years. It's a beautiful blog, actually. Surajit showed it to me 2 years ago, and I remember saying, "Oh wow, what a what a trip!" Swarup was on had a fantastic time documenting all of this, and you can see that on his blog. So everyone, you can take a look at that at his blog as well. And I think thank you so much. We were really lucky to have you available to come and speak to us today and contribute to this lecture series. So generous with your time and with your knowledge. Thank you so much. We're closing the session now, and if you like, we can stay on for a quick photo if everyone's here. And yeah, I'm just going to stop the live stream.
Yeah, can we have a photo of everyone? That would be